How you doing? This is Charlie again with number 7 of What Remains of Edith Finch. Secrets, spoilers, questions, details, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully this is the last one. So here we are, back in Milton's castle. Milton from Unfinished Swan, which you really need to see or play. If you want to play it, great. If you want to see a good walkthrough, go to Bart Sim 23. He does a good Unfinished Swan where he's looking for the Milton tie-in and does discover it, and his reactions are adorable, as he likes to say. Any case, Milton's a quick flip book. Let's do it.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Really great on a PlayStation controller that vibrates with the pages. So here he's painting with the magic paintbrush. And now he's going to go through a double flip book. Paints the door, little gold. Unfinished Swan gold is what you followed. You followed the swan's footprints. There it is. Milton disappeared. I don't know about the death
I
date.
was 4 when Milton disappeared.
I don't know why that's there. It's nowhere else. It's not down here. It's not over here. It's not on the door. It's not even on the grave. It's okay. And again, the gold footprints.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
I assume that's the door. Or is that the door? There's the footprints. And this, of course, is Unfinished Swan, the entrance. Now, the game itself starts off, you're throwing paintballs. Everything's white, and you're throwing black paintballs. So you don't see any of this until you paint it. But that's the opening to this area of the game, as is this picture. So that's from the point of view of you walking up to it. Of course, this is the aerial view, which only indicates Milton was designing Unfinished Swan while he was still living here in the Finch house. So I don't know what all this talk about is him being, seeing something.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Yeah, I don't know what that refers to. So anyway, that's Milton's story as such as it is. But we'll go visit our brother Lewis. Nope. This away. Again,
Mom
when you...
definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
So there's the swan. Lewis blamed himself. So I guess it's a reference to mental illness and how people with it a lot of times don't seek out help.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Not a good idea. But self-medication and mental illness seem to go hand in hand. I don't know, chicken and egg, which comes first. But Lewis...
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Lewis had an issue with mental illness, and I guess weed was his way of treating himself. And who knows? Well, read the letter from his therapist or psychiatrist. It's the sobriety they got to him. I think when he was using weed, he was fine.
Lewis's room smelled very Very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Got the hookah, little weed here, little weed on the bedspread, oh, big weed poster, more candles on a microwave. Is that smart? Of course, we got some drugs of some kind. And of course, the gaming keyboard with a little more weed. I think gaming and weed go hand in hand. It's like beans and cornbread.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
He died a lot. Foretelling.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Well, that may be true. Doesn't really play into the whole game, but hey, good for him. It's the Greater Seattle Institute of Psychology.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation.
Psychiatrist.
As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
So it's the sobriety that got to him.
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
But was he really sober?
His mind began to...
Awful lot of weed laying around. And here's that word wander again.
I asked him to describe it.
Turns out Edie likes to wander.
He started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
I heard him. I heard that toad. Come on, that's a dragon.
And things that have not names.
It has a name, it's a dragon.
It was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
So, of course, this is the old reality versus daydreaming. The reality of cutting off the fish's head versus the daydreaming of wandering around in your old world, thinking you're a king.
But he found something more.
Delusions of grandeur.
I worried about him then.
I remember playing this, and this was a tough little maze to get through.
But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
That's all that matters, isn't it?
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
That was a mistake.
I even encouraged him.
That's another mistake.
It seemed very promising at first.
Encourage him to fantasize.
He told me he'd made a new friend.
Not a human friend. Like the little campsite there, that's pretty
On
neat.
the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia.
Sure he did.
He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
I want Funko to make these little figures.
And songs for them to play.
And when you play the music, they wave their arms. Get a bunch of them.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
But I also want Lego to make the house.
Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Chopped up fish. How appropriate.
But his chopping was as reliable as ever.
Yes. My
and
chopping.
One day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished.
It looks like the whale from the bathtub scene. Couple of them.
He held an election for mayor.
Sure he did.
And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering.
He's already on the boat.
It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
This is always a nice little sequence.
He started drifting away from our reality.
Doing the lazy river thing.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Yeah. Now, isn't this letter addressed to Dawn?
As his mother pleaded with him.
His mother.
Lewis kept sailing on.
Even as you, Dawn, pleaded with him. Strange reference. Then, of course, this, which you pick who's going to cut off your head. Let's pick the handsome queen.
Handsome queen.
Shouldn't it be a handsome prince, beautiful queen? Gender reassignment going on?
The queen was on her own quest for...
No, this seems to make no difference what you pick. Really should give you a little reward if you go through all the rainbows without knocking them over, or if you knock over every one, or something. Same thing with the next sequence. A little prize if you get them all would be nice. Maybe give you a different fish instead of a salmon. Give you I don't know, a grouper. But it doesn't. So there's not too many spoilers or secrets in this section.
To a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
Yes, yes.
Even then, his logic remained.
That is the queen, but she's gonna run pretty quick. All right. Woo. There she goes.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
And there she goes again.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater.
Catch the queen, quick. And then Funko could do these figures. I mean, who knows? Someone might buy a whole bunch just to recreate this scene.
In the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
Not me, but somebody might.
And then it struck him.
That is the little queen up there waiting for me. Waiting for me to chop my head off. All of a sudden he's got curly hair, like, I don't know, Justin Timberlake or something.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue.
Now, one time I went through this and I got glitched out where I fell through the whole game. It's strange. But let's see. Into the locker room, the nasty cannery. His fish chopping days are over. At least the king's fish chopping days. Well, whose locker could this be?
He began to forget the world we know.
Oh, the cannery. What a dismal place.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Now, one thing somebody pointed out, is the shadow, is him as the king. So you're playing as the king in the fantasy world, but you're visiting Lewis in the reality world.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
What a bloody mess. How's it going, Lewis? Wake up. You don't have a fish. Well, let's take the final stroll. And
even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
The companions. Come on, Funko. Where's that cat? Molly.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Should have advised him to stay away from the cannery. And the confetti, which I guess symbolizes death or blood. It's getting awfully loud.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Yeah, we know.
There was only one thing left to do.
Okay, here's where the awareness comes into play. I'm not getting a crown, I'm losing a head.
Bend down his head.
Yeah, that's the crown on the grave. Let her rip. Confetti.
Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
That's a good line. Dr. Nuff.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Well, it's the last death in the house. Didn't seal off this door. And wouldn't Dawn have to go through here to get up to her place? Same with Edith.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Everybody told Edith to stay at Lewis's room, but maybe there was another way to get up to... okay. So I guess these stairs were intact, and that would be the way to get up to Dawn or Edie's rooms without going through Lewis's. But we're stuck with it, which is good, because we wouldn't have his story, which I think is the best one in the game. But Edith wishes they stayed.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
OD. So this is Dawn's loft.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
There's that happy 90th birthday picture that's still hanging in Edie's room. On the plane to Paris, and we'll never know. The book Dawn wrote, and Sanjay's vest, and a picture of Sanjay. And then this O God, we have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, amen. It's a Lutheran prayer. It's a good one. So what's up here?
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
We know.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Sooner? Yeah, maybe. Could have saved Lewis. Now, his Edith's old paper mache and origami collections.
But it had to end one way or another.
All the Finches had
left now was to tell you about that last night.
Some artistic talent. The little figures from Calvin and Walter's stuff. I want one of these lamps. If anybody knows where to get these projectors, you gotta let me know. Here we got some drawings. Pretty sure we saw that one inside of Walter's room. A paper mache version of the house? Come on, Lego, you could do better. Paper mache of the little Funko figures. The Lewis's Fantasy. Oh. Some more of Lewis's fans. And another one of those lights. All right. Let's finish her up. I like the quill. There was a quill in a wooden case right on Odin's little display in Edie's room. And the journal we see at the very opening.
Last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Yeah, I'm a little confused with that sequence. Edith's sitting at the kids' table, but in the opening scenes in the dining room, the table's on the other end, and where Edith is sitting and where Dawn is sitting and where Edie is sitting seems to be different, but well, here we hear about Edie and her candles.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Edie is living in the library, and that's why her room was already sealed up before she died. We'll see that. That's something I didn't notice first time I played this.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories.
So here we see a bed in between the bookcases with a burning candle going, a bowl of some kind.
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
I don't think it's okay with Edie. But here's the rest of her bed. A clock. You really see the bowl. More cookbooks. Looks like a Slurpee cup. So I think Edie was sleeping and living in the library. Or at least Burning a lot of candles. And of course, Edie's journal of the history of the Finches. Let's have a quick read.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one.
So I guess Edith is 17 when she comes back, so I guess she's around 10
that night, the tide went
on the last night.
out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years.
I find it interesting that Edie's room has a light on. Obviously, they've started some construction. Which, okay, by the time Edith is born, they need more rooms to replace the sealed off ones.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Being teased with the house throughout the whole game. Finally, you could get to the house.
Go back to it.
And then it's kind of disappointing.
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
I'll say.
I got turned around.
Just follow the text.
For a while, I wandered.
Wandered again.
I started seeing things.
Oh, there's that deer that we saw in the very beginning. Maybe it's the one that killed Sam. Oh, the one that Sam killed? Well, actually, Dawn killed.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Yeah. The fog's starting to lift a little.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Now, in a few minutes, we're going to see the end of this, and then Dawn comes and rips the book out of Edith's hands. But if you pause it, and I'll try, and read that last page that Edith holds on to, she references sharing a bed with her sister, something about a grandmother's rocking chair. So there's the bed.
That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Coal burning stove.
Or maybe I came back to them.
Where is that rocking chair? Sewing machine. There's the rocking chair. And of course we see the rocking chair in Edie's room with a picture with Edith as she's posing for a painting Edie's doing. But anyway, so here we are, the old fallen apart house. Nothing much left, certainly nothing in the right tower where Edie's room was in the new old house. But miraculously,
things I can't explain.
it's all fixed.
But I need you to try.
And it has power.
What are you doing in here?
It's on.
That's the book.
Edith! Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
I can't pause it.
I kicked and screamed,
But she does keep it.
Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
So long, Edie. Go carve the date in your headstone now.
She was already gone.
And then
we moved around a lot.
this sequence, who hasn't done this driving in a car as a kid? Great childhood memory stuff here.
We both tried to make the best of it.
Yeah. And now it's nothing but sadness.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot.
Yeah, the old hospital bracelet. And she didn't.
And then I was alone.
It's a killer.
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things.
That's the best line in the game.
As it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
And
this
now
dream was
we're
supposed to be for you.
in the uterus.
Now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself.
Here it comes.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all.
So this is her son, Christopher, that we've seen on the ferry boat in the very beginning, holding his lilies for his mom's grave. So I guess he got the key. And now this is all his to explore and find out about. Which would make a great sequel, by the way. So Shirley Dallas, I assume, was Ian Dallas's mom, who passed away during the making of this game. That's some real sadness for you. There's his childhood photo, along with everybody else who worked on the game. There's that projector from Edith's room. I want it. There's her quill from Odin's. So all little memories from the game, along with the kids' photos. See, those are the figures Funko needs to get going on. But I guess since this game's been out for, 7 years? See, there's Milton and the headset. That's Lewis's headset. And there's the boat from Unfinished Swan and some of Lewis's artifacts. I remember you get a trophy for revealing the guy who gives out the trophies. Johan, I believe. There he is, the Unlockables programmer. Now see that rocket? There's a reference to that in Unfinished Swan too. It's covered in vines and takes off. There's the 3 light switches. All are down now that Dawn is dead. Sam's flag. His medals. The whale. The kite string. The frog. Barbara's mask. Her story. The crutch. The crutch is even in the comic on the front page. The ant farm. And whatever that thing is. Galvin's rocket. Sven's level. Little thing hanging in outside of Barb, or in Barbara's room. Not Barbara, I'm sorry. Molly's room. Walter's shark and his peaches. Barbara's skate. If you notice, the playtesters, we've got a few famous people in here. But Druckmann is the one that I recognize from The Last of Us. Where is it? Neil Druckmann. Lucas Pope. And some last little credits before we see the fridge. That kind of started it. So 5 years to develop a game. I get it. I mean, so many little details that I still haven't seen all of them. But you've seen all of this. And this is the end for me. So thanks for hanging in there if you did. And if you didn't, you'll never know. Laters.